Lori, is this your nasty cigar?
I'll do the phone and I'll do it here. Oh my God.
Welcome everybody to the City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 1st, 6:30 p.m. Presiding over the meeting is our mayor, Bob Dekirk. After roll call, we'll have benediction from Father Chris Gross.
Start with roll call. Mayor Dekirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon. Here. Councilman Turk.
Here.
Father Chris will now lead us in the invocation, after which the pledge of allegiance.
Before I pray this evening, I would like to briefly share a few comments that were spoken last week in Kenosha by Julia Jackson, the mother of Jacob Blake. Let's begin to pray for healing for our nation. We are the United States. Have we been united? Do you understand what's going to happen when we fall? Because a house that is against each other cannot stand. To all of the police officers, I'm praying for you and your families. To all of the citizens, my black and brown brothers and sisters, I'm praying for you. I believe that you're an intelligent being just like the rest of us. Everybody, let us use our hearts, our love, and our intelligence to work together to show the rest of the world how humans are supposed to treat each other. Let us pray. Almighty God, we are most grateful for all that you provide and for the countless favors you bestow. God of wisdom and justice, may your enlightenment be with all who are elected to serve in public office. Guide and support our mayor, the members of our city council, our interim city manager and city staff. Give them the strength to know your will, so that all that they do may be pleasing to you. Once again, God of comfort and healing, we ask your prayers for everyone who is in need, especially for the sick and those stricken with the COVID virus. Grant them your care so that their health may be fully restored. And for all who are particularly vulnerable, we pray for their safety and protection. For all who experience fear or anxiety, we pray for peace of mind and spirit. For our brothers and sisters here in Joliet, in our state, in our nation, and around the world, we pray for their well-being. And during this time of fear, may we all be a sign of hope, comfort, and love for all. Help everyone to remember that we are called to unite and not divide, to build up and not tear down, to respect and not destroy, to heal and not harm, to love and not to hate. For we lift up these and all of our prayers to you, our eternal and merciful Lord and God, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening are mayor appointments, which there are none. So next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following change? Remove Council Memo 452-20, which is ordinances regarding the annexation and zoning of certain parcels in partial fulfillment of the pre-annexation agreement with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC, to bring back to council on October 6th council meeting. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the removal of Council Memo 452-20?
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, council committee reports. First is Economic Development Committee report.
The Economic Development Committee, which consists of myself, Councilman Dickinson, and Councilman Morris, met here at City Hall on the 24th of August at 5 p.m. We had 2 items on our agenda. Bring it up here. The first one was approval of a contract with McGuire, Gillespie and Associates Incorporated to conduct a downtown Joliet architectural and historical survey and secure a preliminary determination of eligibility. This firm would be doing the consulting and helping us get recognition from the state or federal for a historic area, the downtown historic zone. To be clear, it doesn't force any landowner within that to do anything with the property as it pertains to being historic. It allows our economic development department to have a tool, because if you choose to follow the guidelines, which are mainly exterior, as I understand it, you then qualify to get tax credits towards your project from the federal government and state government, from IDA, I think, right? Am I correct? Is one of them.
Yes.
And so if you agree to follow their historic requirements, then you qualify for that money to help support your development. I think I've summed it up pretty well. Anybody got anything to add on that topic?
Councilman Hugg, just if I can interject at this point, last night I raised a concern and we double checked on it, and there is no review, state or federal review of any plans or concerns unless you're getting some kind of federal funding for the project. But other than that, there's no impediment to going ahead with your project.
So it's a matter of choice whether you want to participate
That's
in the
true.
funding or tax credits, or you don't.
Yes.
I just want to let people know that. So each person, each property owner, as they develop, will make that decision on their own. So we looked at that, and then we also discussed a resolution authorizing execution of a Third Amendment to Joliet Union Station lease agreement with Migraine Brewing Company, LLC. Again, to oversimplify it, it's really not a completely reworked, any substance, if you will, other than the taxes within the lease with Migraine. There were some projections made in the lease based on a certain amount of taxes per year that would start out smaller and get larger over the I think, 10-year period. They didn't turn out to compute that way through the township, so the city staff worked with the township to come up with a plan, and that's what we did last time we did this tweaking. And then when we did the plan and it was approved by the council, it had to go to the next step. When we filed it with the township, of course sends it on to the county, and the county said, we're not exactly on board 100%, we need you to tweak this and this. That's why we're back at it, because we had to deal with 2 assessors, the Joliet Township assessor and the Will County assessor. Now we're all on the same page, and we've just redone the lease to honor the amount of taxes that they would be paying on the property. Even though it's publicly owned by the city, there's a certain level of taxes because for whatever portion is being used by commercial or private industry that has to be taxed. So both items, if I remember correctly, we actually recommended unanimously, all 3 of us, to move forward to the full council for approval. Do I need to add anything, Don or Terry?
No, that was it.
Okay. Then that would make my Economic Development Committee report. Thank you.
Public Safety Committee report.
Public Safety met this afternoon at 4:30 in council chambers. Present was Councilman Duck, Councilman Hugg, Chief of Police Rochner, Deputy Chiefs, and staff, and myself. We discussed the Narcan issue, and Dr. Kathleen Burke from the Will County has a program that she received a grant for, and they have a rapid response team for administering Narcan. She said that in the month of July, they used Narcan for 304 times in July, and then came August, 1,402. So what she said is the Narcan has assisted in helping one pandemic, but making this other pandemic worse with all the isolation and COVID. she has a team, and there's 5 people that they need. They're called need recovery coaches, and they're looking to help others that are in dire straits, that are drug addicts or so forth, and anybody can help. So she would like you to call 708-205-5782. And Mayor, can we put that on our website?
Sure.
Okay, so folks that want to help with the Narcan, they have lots of Narcan, and they teach you how to administer it, what to look for in an overdose. And it's a nasal spray. It used to be a syringe you would put up folks' nose, but it's like an Afrin nasal spray. If you know what that is, that's what you use now. So they're willing to train, and a lot of them are post-drug addicts and are in recovery, and some people just want to help. So they need recovery coaches. She gave a very nice presentation, and she said they also work with other police departments and other community organizations. So after that, we were kind of surprised that we had a wonderful meeting, actually, but I'm told that people did not know about it. But it was posted everywhere, on the Facebook page, on our website, in the newspapers, and so I don't know why we didn't have folks come. But anyway, we did what we said we were going to do. We addressed the police reform, just to continue the police reform discussion. And the main thing was the body cams. So we talked about it, and we talked about the cost, anywhere from $500 to $800K. And I'm going to have David Brainer from our IT department come up and explain all the technicalities it is when you do get body cams, and all the necessary things that have to be done to maintain. So David, if you could come up, please. We talked about this at length.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me up here. So I wanted to give an update of where we are to date with the what I'm going to call the high tech that we're using with Axon, mainly around the in-car videos. So you heard that we did the fiber improvement for the West PD. That's in place. One of the projects we are kicking off is also to improve the fiber between this building and the building across the street, because every time we do video uploads over there, it has to go through a fiber channel here before it goes out to our Comcast provider. So that's one thing that we're building out. This is an infrastructure piece to try to get ready for more video. As it relates to body cams, I need to stress this is not as simple as just throwing a camera on an officer and calling it a day. This is kind of a triangle of technology. It's the process, it's the implementation of it, it's the technology layer, but then there's also the software component of this as well. And that's what we're trying to get a good understanding of, because depending on how well the software works and how much we can work with it, goes into the computation for the full-time employees that we would need to hire for we know that there's going to be an increase in FOIA requests, so we know there'd be a lot of increase in redaction and a lot of work associated with that. So where are we? We've had several meetings with Axon. That's our provider for our evidence, our logical evidence platform that's in the cloud, so they would be the sole provider of the body cams if we were to go down that road. We've had 2 or 3 different meetings understanding what those software layers are like and what they can do. Right now I'm giving that range of $500 to $800K, what it would cost annually. It's not a one-time number. This would be a recurring expense for the city. But what's also buried in there, and I think it's important to understand that as you layer on Axon products, you also get a larger discount. So one of the things that we're looking at the same time, because it makes sense to look at the same time, is to look at our taser program. Right now we don't have enough tasers for all our officers. So to stick a camera on somebody and not have a taser seems odd. So we're trying to understand what it would take to complete that, to outfit the officers with both of these pieces. Also, our tasers right now are older. A good amount of them are, about 30-something of them are going to be end of life at the end of this year, and in a couple of years, the rest will be out of. So we're going to be looking at a capital investment for those as well. The other thing to understand is that the tasers that we have are several generations old. As you just saw in the news, what happened in Kenosha, where they tried to tase somebody. Sometimes these tasers don't work. The newer generations of tasers work better than the older generations. They just get better as things goes on. So because the bundling does bring in discounting, we're trying to understand that model better. The next steps with this are to try to dive in on how many FTEs we need, and then to understand exactly who would get the body cams and how they would get rolled out, and then we can get a final cost to. My guess is that it's going to take about another month or so to get those answers. Do you have any questions?
Just for the record, FTEs are full-time employees.
Full-time
That's okay for
employees.
people that don't
we would
understand.
have to have full-time employees. They have to spin through all the video and take out pictures like license plates or computer monitors or things like that. It's extremely time-consuming, and it's the reality of going to body cams. It's not that simple to just put them on and pretend there's no extra work or costs involved.
So just to add to that, with the funding, we did discuss it. As I said, another meeting, there was some concern about Congressman Foster not knowing that we didn't have them. And when I talked to his aide, she did say that we should write a letter with concern and requesting some federal funding or grant money, and under Congressman Foster's suggestion. So I just talked to our city manager, Hawk, and once you get all those figures to him with what we actually need and why we need it, we can get that letter sent off to him to get the funding.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, David. Okay, and then the other things we discussed was the, hang on a second. Actually, we went through everything. And the drug testing we already do. I'm not going to go through every individual thing, but those were the two main things that we talked about. And very important was neighborhood policing. We don't have enough neighborhood police officers. The vehicles, we need vehicles. We need more training. They just had bias training last week. There is a peer support group in place to address the mental health issue. But most importantly, we are CALEA accredited for Councilman Hug, every 3 years, is it?
I believe it's every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
We've been since 2002.
And it's, we talked about what CALEA meant, and I wrote it
I
down.
remember, Chairwoman,
Yeah.
we're a flagship member. We're top of the...
We are the flagship for other communities as far as following accreditation and how we handle our police department. And it's certified accreditation of law enforcement. That's what it stands for. And we went over everything like that. And so basically we addressed every issue, what we can and can't do and what we're already doing. It's not going to happen overnight, but we did follow through with what we said we were going to do. And did I miss anything, Councilman Hug?
No, if you don't mind, I would just suggest they go to the city website. They can listen to the full, if they didn't.
The audio, yeah, I was going to suggest that
audio of
after
it.
that.
And that if they want to see what CALEA means and what the accreditation, the importance of it, to go to CALEA, CALEA.org, and you can educate yourself on what CALEA is. It's it rates police departments across the nation, from New York right on down to the smallest town. So again, it's CALEA, CALEA.org.
Councilman Dickinson?
Yeah, I would think it might be important that we explain why none of us are willing to defund the police.
Yes, okay. So Councilman Hug brought up a good point. We need the money for the body cams. And then we all got on board with this. You need money for training. You need money for mental health, more money. You need money for vehicles. You need money for neighborhood policing. So if you defund the police, you're not going to have any money to do all those things. And right now, these are all these things that are being addressed that the folks had asked for on this list. I have the list here. And without those funds, we can't do any of that. So we all agreed, all in agreement, that we will not defund our police department. And having said that,
The other thing
Yeah.
you might suggest is the concept of how large the umbrella is for the term broken windows policing.
go ahead, explain it.
Yes, I mean, that can be any, it essentially, to oversimplify it, broken windows, you can have individual programs from department to department, but it essentially means if you take care of the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves, kind of a saying. If you take care of the minor crimes, you might discourage graduating to major crimes. And it was important to point out, and I learned something new, did not know it, some of the things that were mentioned in the proposal that was presented to us at the last meeting was, for instance, no arrests or criminalizing loitering. Well, one of our city attorneys, Chris Regis, informed us those types of ordinances have long been blown out of the water by the courts. It doesn't exist. Also, the terminology to not criminalize, or arrest somebody for being homeless, that doesn't happen. So loitering and homeless are crimes, even currently as we speak. So what would be left in that proposal is looking at how we treat disturbing the peace or disorderly conduct, which you're not going to see those disappear in any community because there are legitimate uses for those when it comes to the safety of neighborhoods.
So that pretty much concludes our report. I would encourage anybody that wants to be a recovery coach to get in contact with Dr. Burke at the Will County. And again, we'll be posting her number on our Facebook and also our website. And with that said, I thought it was a very good, productive meeting. We did discuss many things, and you can get the audio online. And it was posted everywhere. It was on our website, it was on Facebook, it was in the newspapers. So, if I did follow through, I said we would meet in a month and discuss 3 things, but we were able to get through the whole list. So, there you have it. It was a good meeting, we thought. So anyway, thank you everybody that showed up, and that concludes our report, Mayor.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report?
The Public Service Committee met yesterday at 4:00 in the afternoon here in the City Council chambers. On the committee is myself, Councilwoman Gavin, and Councilman Morris. I must give you credit, I appreciate that. We went through a number of items here that I'll say, but I just want to reiterate, even for our Public Service Committee, for the Public Safety Committee as we discuss now, go to www.joliet.gov, click on meetings and agendas, and then find the committee or council meeting that you want to watch or listen to. Understand that committee meetings normally are not videotaped, they're only audio tape, but you can hear them. The audio is very clear, very digital. So if you have any interest in the committee, you can listen to the past meetings. On our agenda were 2 contracts. One was the award of a contract for snow removal from municipal lots to Trezino Concrete for the 2020-2021 snow season through the 2023-2024. We looked at their rate of, I think it went from 21,000 to 23,000 over that period. I did want to be clear, lest the rumor mill start. The director of our public works is named Jim Trizna, and the name of the owner of this company is Trezino. They aren't related, okay? Let's be clear. I got your back, Jim. The second award contract was for the sanitary sewer point repair project. It's a number of various locations of sewer repair and manhole replacement, and it was awarded to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $192,967.61. Both contracts we discussed and vetted, and all 3 of us unanimously voted to send them forward to you folks with a recommendation to approve them. Under the change order pay estimates and final payments, we had approved an amendment number 3 to the professional engineering service agreement that's part of the Hobolt Road, all centered around the Hobolt Bridge and the improvements we're making there. We had a couple of wells, and then we have the demolition that we did a change order around for $10,200 of the old bowling alley, I think it is, that we have out on Washington Street that we bought some months back. Because in the process of doing demolition, we found out that I think in the first floor, basement maybe, there was more asbestos than we originally were aware of. So we had to mitigate that asbestos. So that was the increase of $10,200. Again, all the change orders, pay estimates, and final payments were looked at and viewed and vetted by all members of the council, of the committee, I'm sorry. And again, we unanimously voted that all the items under change orders, pay estimates, and final payments come before you with a recommendation that you vote yes on those. Other than that, under ordinance and resolutions, for the most part, you have, when you agree to do a contract that's gonna be paid for by the motor fuel tax, then you have to do a second ordinance resolution releasing that motor fuel tax to fund the project you just approved. So you see those under there. We had 2 traffic signal improvement projects that's, it's federal, state, and local dollars, the least of which is local dollars. The change does not change how much that we're gonna participate. I think it was 20% of the project, am I right? 10%. 10%. What we had to do is the state put it out for contract as one big contract. They got one bidder because of the contract was so big and it was so far above their estimate, they decided to reject that bid and rebid it as 2 smaller contracts. That's the only reason it appeared on our agenda, which is a smart move, trying to get your best bang for your buck. And of course, we looked at a drive-through, another Starbucks coming to Joliet over on Larkin Avenue by the old Ultra. I believe that's our 5th Starbucks in Joliet. So I did make a motion that did not receive a second to change the city's name to Starbucks, Illinois, but it didn't happen. Did I leave anything else out of what we discussed, folks?
No.
Okay, and then we got a ingress, egress, and entrance and exit for our new lift station out on Manhattan Road. The state said no to the original design that we thought they would say yes to for their traffic concerns, and we had a good, willing neighbor next door that allowed us to come through their property to establish that in and out. So all's well with the lift station out there on Manhattan Road near Richard Street. What else did we look at? We looked at hydrant repair. We have, again, you can go on there. We give a report every 2 weeks on the number of hydrants that have been repaired, number of valves have been replaced. We had no updates on the alternative water source program because we just had our meeting. Let me see. Oh, then we talked about, which doesn't need council approval, but you should be aware of it, Granite Street from Bluff Street to Broadway Street. Apparently it's very, for those who are familiar, it's a very steep section of road, and the businesses and residents around there don't really use it much, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous year round because of the steepness, and it's dangerous especially in the winter when things get frozen too. So the engineering made a wise suggestion that we unanimously agreed with, and they're gonna do it. They will be cutting access to that road off. It'll no longer be a usable road. They'll come around to, where do they know?
Bluff Street, they'll come in off Bluff.
Off Bluff, all the way back out to, yes. So we will be closing Granite Street from Broadway to Bluff Street, and we don't have final plans, but there'll be some kind of tearing up the asphalt or whatever, and changing it so it won't even look like a road anymore. It's just too dangerous, and we did agree on that. Did I have anything else? No, I did not. Betty?
No.
Got everything? Terry? Then that means that I am done, Mayor, and that is our report for the Public Safety Committee, for Service Committee. Thank you.
I show no other reports.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I forgot one important thing we did discuss, and none of us remember, but when the Citizens Police Academy starts up again, we encourage all citizens to sign up and go through that, to know exactly what a police officer goes through every single day. And you can go through some of their training modules to show, for example, if you're in a situation, they'll have a video of somebody, it's a shoot, whether you should shoot or not shoot, or what you should do, or if it's a person or a dog or some other object. It gives you that moment of adrenaline rush. Well, what do you do? What do you do? My life is at stake here. Your life is at stake here. So we talked about that for a short time, and unfortunately with the COVID, it has stopped. But once it starts again, I would encourage every citizen to put themselves in that place just to get a little taste of what the police officers go through every single day. That was it. Sorry.
Thank you.
Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes, it's recommended the minutes of the council meeting held on August 4th, 2020, the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on August 17th, 2020, and the minutes of the council meeting held on August 18th, 2020 stand approved as recorded. Council memo 452-20 was previously removed. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Mayor, a quick question?
Yes.
Before we move on?
Yes.
So just to be clear, the ordinance regarding the annexation of zoning certain parcels for the Eastgate Logics will be on October 8th. It will be back, is that correct?
October 6th,
October 6th,
council meeting.
the council meeting.
Right, and along those lines, if I can, Jim, this was on the consent agenda. I think there was some, maybe misunderstanding about this in the community, although I only got a couple emails. This isn't really up, it's not gonna be a debate process again. We've already approved this, correct?
Yes, Mayor, the agreement has been approved. Part of the city's responsibility is once they have acquired a majority of the properties, then we are obligated to annex them into the city and zone the property industrial.
And this ties back to the original agreement that was voted on in April, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mayor?
Yes.
So Jim, you know, and to be clear, so the pre-annexation agreement process, which included a public hearing, that's when the vetting took place. And now it's essentially, like you said, we're contractually obligated, unless they were to veer from the original agreement, which they have not.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 454-20, an application for a drive-through permit for a Starbucks restaurant at 1550 North Larkin Avenue, Unit C. It's recommended the drive-through permit be approved, subject to final engineering plans.
So moved.
Second,
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
No, we're a five-star city. I'll vote aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Motion carried. Moving on, under ordinances and resolutions, Council Memo 456-20 is a resolution accepting an ingress-egress easement for 403 Manhattan Road for the Richard Street Lift Station Replacement and Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 457-20 is a resolution requesting authorization to enter into a regular 2020 Justice Assistance Grant intergovernmental agreement between the City of Joliet and Will County. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 458-20 is a resolution authorizing execution of a third amendment to Joliet Union Station lease agreement with Migraine Brewing Company. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Councilman Hug.
And I can't pass up the opportunity to thank the owners of Migraine one more time. They put a $2.5 million investment into our downtown. This isn't a $1 billion business, but it's really important to what we're doing downtown. And they have been thrown so many curveballs since they came in, with the construction shutting them down, now COVID. You name it, they've been through it. And I don't know that I would, many people would stick around. They've stuck to it. Their commitment to Joliet is evident. And I thank them, and I say aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 459-20 is a resolution approving an amendment to the communications site lease with T-Mobile. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 460-20 is a resolution authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement with Joliet Township for the resurfacing of Rowell Avenue, Hague Street, and Gregory Avenue. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 461-20, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the various traffic signal improvements project in the city of Joliet, Contract A, in the amount of $155,172.86. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 462-20 is a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the various traffic signal improvements project in the city of Joliet, Contract B, in the amount of $98,278.33. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 463-20 is a resolution appropriating funds for the various traffic signal improvements adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 464-20, a resolution appropriating funds for the various traffic signal improvements project in the city of Joliet, Contract B. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, under bids and contracts, award of contracts, Council Memo 468-20, award a contract to McGuire, Gillespie and Associates to conduct a downtown Joliet architectural and historical survey and secure a preliminary determination of eligibility. Council Memo 469-20, award a contract for snow removal for municipal lots to Trezino Concrete for the 2020-2021 snow season through the 2023-2024 snow season. And Council Memo 470-20, award a contract for the 2020 sanitary sewer point repair project at various locations to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $192,967.61. It's recommended Council Memos 468-20 through 470-20 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Amendments, change orders, and payments. Council Memo 472-20, approve amendment number 3 to the professional engineering services agreement for Phase 1 and 2 engineering services for the Hobart Road interchange modification and roadway reconstruction project to Trans Systems Corporation in the amount of $499,935. Council Memo 473-20, approve change order number 1 for the demolition of 100 to 106 East Washington Street in the amount of $10,200. Council Memo 474-20, approve change order number 2 for the Well 29D rehabilitation project to Water Well Solutions in the amount of $47,640. Council Memo 475-20, approve change order number 1 for the Well 5D Rehabilitation Project to Water Well Solutions in the amount of $11,025. And Council Memo 476-20, approve change order number 1 for the Well Rock 3 Rehabilitation Project to Water Well Solutions in the amount of $15,480. It's recommended Council Memos 472-20 through 476-20 be approved.
So moved.
Second?
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Just one item this evening, and that's an update on the Jefferson Street Bridge, which I know all of you are aware, but to remind the public is owned and operated by IDOT. But that doesn't stop residents from calling City Hall to find out when is the bridge going to go back down. And so we reached out to IDOT and found out that, and as you know, each one of these parts need to be custom fabricated because they're all unique. There's no other bridges like them. And so each time repairs have to be made, they do have to be sent off, and it's quite time consuming. They had estimated originally that it would be reopened at the end of the calendar year, and that's still their estimate. That's all I have.
You know, Mayor, along those lines, Jim, I was going to bring some public comments, but I'm just going to segue into this. Tonight was a disaster trying to get to City Hall. Every avenue that had a bridge was backed up practically all the way to Rayner and past. So Councilman Hug and I had discussed this. Years ago, we were allowed to do a two-way on the, was it Jackson Street Bridge?
Yes.
Cass Street Bridge, sorry, Crass Street Bridge. And that would really alleviate some of this issue because there was an accident on another highway, so people were just all over the place, and I've never seen it that busy at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I would ask you to please plead to them, could we just make that a two-way street again? Because this is time and time again, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, we have. Don, you wanna?
Yeah, I spoke with Senator McGuire, and I had him speak with IDOT about this. And they said that there's no way they would be able to get it done anytime before this bridge is repaired. They said it would be into next year because they have to do different studies.
To make it a two-way on Cass?
Yes.
Well, and this was an issue right after I was elected mayor, and I again worked with Senator McGuire and I think Representative Walsh trying to appeal to IDOT to do that. This has been in 2015 and they refused to do it. So it's out of our hands. It's not our, they own the bridge and it's a state route.
I know, but I just
But it's
wanted to put it
frustrating.
out there again because it's very frustrating for citizens and us. We were late for the meeting, actually. And people want to know, so it's out there. This is why we can't do it. IDOT refuses.
What we could try to do though, moving forward, and there's big conversation, is permanently make it a two-way route.
Right.
So we don't have to get the excuse from IDOT that.
Exactly.
So that would be the way forward, and probably Jefferson Street too. The only bridge that has the grade that could allow a permanent structure is Ruby Street, where there's enough room on both sides. Otherwise, we're stuck with drawbridges on these other routes.
Well, the thing it was, Councilman Hogan, again, we were talking afterwards because we got here a little late. But anyway, if anybody has a business downtown, I mean, if trying to get through that traffic, it's like, I'm going to go downtown to eat. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to the ball game. No, I'm not, because I'm going to be stuck in traffic for a half hour. I'll go somewhere else. I mean, you're not going to miss a ball game, but there's other places to go eat. And that's just really hurting our downtown area. And we're trying to revitalize it. That's all.
And my question would be, I think it was 2011 or 2012, we had the bridge shut down for a lengthy period, and they did do
They did do it.
the 2 lanes. So how much has that area changed since then, where they wouldn't have most of their study work already on file?
We can invite someone from IDOT to come to the next meeting. I would, and I was frustrated as anybody. I work downtown also. Although IDOT's doing a lot for the city of Joliet. We have a lot of road projects. So if we did invite them here, I would urge everyone to be nice and polite.
Oh, I'm not being nasty. I'm just pleading. Please help our citizens.
But if you look at the billions that finally are getting invested in Joliet roadways, it should have been done 20 years ago. But
Mayor? Let me get a little more information on the subject from staff and the last time they discussed it with IDOT, and I'll report back next
Okay,
meeting.
that'd be good.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
No, Larry? No. Jim?
No,
Mike? Pat? No. Terry? No. Sherry? Betty?
Next is public comments. Jerry Hervey.
Mayor, Council. Ms. Gavin, you stated at a prior meeting that you stated that you wanted a transparency in government, open government, and that Marty was doing a great job and he was great. So how do you make that statement and then make a vote to get rid of him? You also said that you was working on police reform and writing policy. Councilman Quillman has had an open session on policy and reform, and you haven't attended either one. Why?
May I respond? Thank you. Mr. Herbie, I did say always transparency. You don't know what I've done, okay? As your question as to about the policy reform, there are 5 different organizations in the community with policy reforms, police reform.
That was not my question. Listen closely.
You asked me.
Why have you not presented anything to Ms. Quillman or attended the meetings? That's a simple question that requires a simple
Well,
answer.
let me to get to that. The reason why I have presented proposals, they have not come before this committee. I spoke with the chair of the Land Use and Legislation Committee. I also gave them the police department, I don't know if the mayor got a copy, but they all have copies. There are 5 different organizations.
You're presented with a golden
out there.
opportunity to come to the public and present your reform that you say you've been working on, and you don't take it.
I take it to the committee. Let me tell you something, sir.
The same thing with that letter that has been presented to you. What is so wrong in that letter that the mayor was asking you to sign?
I never saw the letter. I never saw it.
Did you read it? Because
I never
gave a
saw
copy of it.
Mr. Hervey and Betty?
I never saw it.
Excuse me.
So with his questioning of me,
Why
I
don't you
want
let
to
it,
be able to respond. This man,
excuse
he's
me.
got all these questions.
Excuse me,
He can ask
Councilwoman.
me about.
It's public comment. Let him make his comment, then you can respond.
Well, okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
There was a letter that I read that is nothing wrong. All he simply asked was for an independent investigation. You came up with the incredible statement that you didn't see a letter. You came up with every excuse possible. So there's the letter right there. Would you sign it for the public? Would you be willing to sign that letter for the public for an independent investigation?
Now, if that letter is gone, it's gone. What I want is an independent investigation. I've asked for it twice, not only
Where is the
on
letter?
that.
Where is the letter from the state police department saying that they don't do these type of independent investigations?
I got it right here on my lap.
Okay, could you make that
As
available
soon
to the
as
public?
soon as we're here, you can see it. You can see it. It's right here. I have nothing to lie about. I have nothing to hide from. Now, in terms of your question regarding why didn't I show up, I listened at all the meetings. I listened at them all. Okay? Whether I'm there physically or not.
Ms. Gavin, that is not what I said. I said you were presented with a golden opportunity to present to the public the reform and policy that you were working on, and you failed to show up when a fellow councilman opened the forum for you to do so.
No,
It's rare to show up.
No. You're absolutely incorrect.
You were not there, because I was there for a whole 3+ hours.
I watched that whole meeting at 3 hours.
Again.
When they had those,
Again,
Mr. Herbie.
Miss
Mr.
Gavin,
Herbie. No, you're gonna
you
hear
did
me
not
out
show
as
up.
well.
You did not show up to those meetings. Yes
I
or
didn't
no?
have to. I didn't have to.
Okay then. That's
Didn't
all
have
you
to.
had to say.
I didn't have to.
That's all you had to
Does
say.
that satisfy you, sir?
It does.
All right.
All right.
All right.
So you go all into these other things, and you have a really nasty habit of saying one thing in public and doing something else in private.
I disagree, but if you want to go that way.
Well, you voted to raise taxes on the city of Joliet, and then you made the incredible statement that I would leave out the city to get fuel at a cheaper price in Lockport. How do you raise prices for the citizens in the city, but you're going to take your money and go to another city and get it at a cheaper price?
Let me tell you. Are you ready? Are you ready for that?
Well, look, it's not a debate.
Are you ready
Excuse
for
me,
that?
Councilwoman, it's not a debate. If you're done with your comment, you can sit down, please. You can respond.
And I'll respond.
If not, let him respond, or let him finish his comment, please.
At the end of the day, it's just a lot of things like that we're looking at as a public. I'm looking at. I live in your district. My mother lives in your district. Do you think it is appropriate for her to be disabled and not be able to drive 2 miles and spend money on fuel at a reasonable price while you drive to Lockport to get your fuel cheaper?
Are you done, Mr. Hervey?
She can answer, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Finished? Okay, all right. Mr. Hervey, I don't know if you know that back in 2005, 2007, when we were doing the Quality of Life Task Force, had that going with the Quality of Life Plan, we identified a lot of things that was being higher over on this side or on the other side. So, I have the opportunity, a lot of people don't, but I had the opportunity to make that statement to show, and I thank our economic development person and everybody else that brought Thornton's in here. I just made the comment the other day, Thornton's had brought me back to the east side because they're keeping their prices. Real worried about gas prices. Do you know that there is over $4 million of revenue leaking out of the east side of Joliet because we don't have grocery stores. We don't have any of that. So the amount of money, my little money going over there to Lockport to get my gas, as compared to $4 million in revenue.
It's not about you want to spend money. It's about principle.
It's a city council meeting, Mr. Hervey. I have to ask you to take a seat. Betty, it's public
Absolutely.
comment. It's not a debate, so let's move forward.
I just wanted to try my best to answer his question.
Did you present any of your reform or policies to Ms. Coolman?
I presented them to Ms. Quillman and to Mr. Morris.
Is that true?
And Mr. Morris.
Ms.
No,
Coolman?
it's not true. I'm sorry. It's not true.
Mr. Morris, is that true?
So I'm done.
All right,
Go ahead, Terry.
Mr. Hervey, thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Terry.
I'll simply say, whatever you provide the police department, you did not provide me. If you can give me a copy, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. We have them right here on
Okay.
the laptop.
Thank you.
And Mr. Morris and Ms. Quillman, we did speak about those on our first meeting. I just want to make that clear.
And I make it clear we did not.
Okay,
We
thank
did
you.
when you were
Period.
making
I'm done.
your agenda. We did. Right at your seat where you're sitting now. We did do that.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Do you want to speak?
My name is Dan Callen.
If you're talking to Mike, please, Dan.
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Dan Callen, and I don't know if it was on the agenda, but I own 71 North Ottawa Street, which is right next door to the old Barrett's building. And recently, the fence that was around the back of the building has been taken down. And there's a huge pile of rocks there and bricks. And I don't know if they're going to be removed or what's going to happen to that building. I tried to call the owner and was unsuccessful about that. There's a big hole in the foundation of the building, and it's boarded up right now, but it's very flimsily boarded up. And I'm concerned that there's going to be homeless people camping out there in the wintertime and lighting fires and stuff like that. It's a very hazardous situation, especially with a big pile of rocks there. If you get a bunch of looters and stuff like that, my windows are gone. They got a lot of ammo there to fling at windows. So I'm concerned about that, and I don't know what the city can or will do about that.
Jim?
Mayor?
Yeah.
Actually, we reached out to the property owner so that they could remove that pile. And so the fence just came down, and I expect in the next day or two, all that rubble will be hauled away, and then the fence will be much closer to the building and block that area that is dug down towards the basement.
That's a very good idea, because it does need to be closer, and the wood that's boarding that hole up needs to be reinforced.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And along those lines, Jim, if you can give next meeting the council an update on the hotel, what's happening there. I know the last report we got was that construction was continuing, but I'm downtown also. I'm not sure that that's accurate.
I did speak, if I can, I
Sure.
did speak to Mr. Patel about a month ago. I was concerned. I called him up and asked him, I said, when are you gonna start, building this? He says, well, he said, he's still gonna do it, but I have about a C- confidence rating in that statement, so that's all I can tell you. That's my opinion, my observation.
Thank you.
We'll get an update for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening under public comments?
I'll make one more comment.
Jerry.
I just wanted to know if you made a statement regarding Gary Murray that he was appropriate.
Next is mayor and council comments.
Nothing.
Nothing. Jim.
I just want to wish everybody a happy, safe Labor Day. I know it's been a long, hot summer and everybody's been isolated, but please be aware of your surroundings, wash your hands, wear your masks or things will go down. And I don't know why they're up so high, because it doesn't make sense to me with these statistics, but just be safe and have a nice holiday. Enjoy.
Mike?
Just one thing, Jim, could you, I don't have the exact address, but if you could check it out. It's the old Senior Tequilas on Jefferson Street. Before that, it was D'Amico's, and it's an eyesore. It was bought by a pharmacist, probably 4 years ago, that they were going to, move their business over there and rehab the whole thing. It's an eyesore. It looks terrible. Nothing's been done with it, and if it's not on our public nuisance list, I think it should be.
Very good, I'll check it out.
Thank you.
Yep.
A couple of things. Obviously, all of us would like to thank the city staff, all the workers that are out still picking up tree limbs, that somewhat of a never-ending job, and we appreciate it and realize it's a lot of hard work. And on an educational basis, all the students, young and old, who are now back in school or in homeschool, I'm sure some struggling with all the Zoom meetings, as well as the teachers that are trying to educate some of, as it pointed out to me, that the first graders, even if they went to kindergarten, have not been in full day of school, maybe ever, and now they're being asked to do a full day of Zoom, which can be obviously very difficult. So good luck to everybody, and hopefully we could be back to something a little more normal here in the near future. That's it.
Terry?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to be clear on what had happened earlier. I don't want to leave anybody hanging. I think we had a meeting, maybe for the city manager, something prior to that combined meeting that we had, Jan, if I'm remembering right. And I know Councilwoman Gavin had spoke to me even before that, but especially that day, about some reform issues that different organizations had funneled through Ms. Gavin. Am I right so far, Ms. Gavin?
You're absolutely
Okay.
correct.
So physically, she never gave me any paper, but there were some things on the dais from different organizations. One I remember from NAACP, and there was others. So I believe that's what you're speaking of when you say you gave them.
Yes.
Okay, but not
Part of
like,
that,
right,
yes.
we discussed briefly before our meeting started, because I believe we were in between meetings that day, if my mind, if I remember right. So it was said back between me and Councilman Gavin that Councilwoman Quillman was going to chair the meeting, and I believe I asked you, did she have the information, and you said she should or she did.
Yeah.
So I'm just want to clear, when you said that you gave them to me, we did discuss them, and there was some papers on the dais that was from different organizations, and a lot of it, and I think even myself and Councilwoman Coolman talked about some of the things were overlapping. Some of the issues were overlapping. You know, number one on one person might have been number 10 on another person, whatever. But you all understand what I mean, overlap. So I just wanted to clear that. Clear that up.
Nice project, but all right.
Okay. But no, that's the fact of what happened. That's the fact. She didn't hand me anything. I ain't got to go back through that. You know,
Can I just make a comment?
Sherry,
Can I make a comment?
yeah, Sherry. Betty? Yes.
Just to make a comment, I did have those papers, but I did not know that they were from Councilwoman Gavin. I thought they were from organizations that were sent in, because I was getting a lot of papers during that meeting, or before that meeting,
I just want to be clear. I'm sorry, man.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion and seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?